Hello and welcome to 7-3 Notes, where we're going to learn how to use the percent proportion. Now we've already talked about proportions. Proportions are two ratios that are equal to each other. So which two ratios are these going to be? In a percent proportion, one ratio compares part of a quantity to its whole. The other ratio is going to be the equivalent percent, written of course as a fraction with a denominator of 100. Percent is the whole is 100%, and we talk about what part of 100 when we talk about percent. So we're comparing part to whole of two other quantities and then part to whole of the percent. Let me show you how we're going to use this proportion. 20 is what percent of 25? So we're comparing 20, which is part of 25, and we want to know what percent that is. So whenever you hear the words what percent, you know the percent's what we're looking for. So X is going to be the part over 100. Then it's real simple. You don't even have to think from there. You just let the cross multiplication do the math for you. And you'll divide then after you've multiplied, and you find out that X is 80. So it didn't ask us what is X, it says what percent, so you need to write your answer as a percent. So the answer is 80%. 20 is 80% of 25. Now another scenario that you'll use to set up this proportion, it says what number, there's our unknown, our variable, what number is 8.8%? So they gave us the percent. So I already immediately know 8.8 is going to be over 100. We're looking for what number of 20. So I don't know how much out of 20, what part of 20, part to whole, what part of 20 is 8.8%? So of 100. Notice how I read that, how I set it up. What number is 8.8% of 20? And again, without even thinking, I'll cross multiply and let the math do its thing. When we divide by 100, when you divide by 100, it moves your decimal 2 places to the left. So it's 1.76. It doesn't tell me here to round to the nearest tenth, so I'm just going to leave it 1.76. So 1.76 is what part of 20 is 8.8%. All right, the only other scenario we're going to encounter is when they say 70, they give us the number first, is 28% of what number? Of what number? So 70 is part of what whole? We don't know the whole. Whenever they give you the percent, you immediately know that's going to be over 100. So the right side is almost a no-brainer. If I'm looking for percent, I know it's the X over 100. If I know the percent, then I know it's that number over 100. So the tricky part is deciding which numbers are part and which numbers are whole. Well, typically the pattern is they're going to give you the part first. Here we didn't know the part. So what number is of 20? And here it says 70 is of what number? So we don't know our whole. So when you cross multiply and divide, you find out that 70 is 28% of 250. All right, and here's a little chart to just kind of lay it all out for you as you read through a problem. It shows you exactly how to set it up. So you may want to keep this handy as we work through these problems in class. Find the percent. 1 is what percent. What percent of 5 is 1. So when you don't know the percent, that's always your variable over 100. When you're finding the part, it's going to say what number is a percent of the whole. So what number is 20% of 5? So we're looking for the part. Find the whole, it's going to say 1 is, and it'll give you the percent that always goes over 100, of what number? So of what whole? So there's a little chart to help make it a little bit easier, although when you encounter these problems, there's not going to be a chart laid out for you, so you have to learn how to think through these problems. So let's read this word problem. From 1999 to 2007, that's 9 years, Serena Williams won both the U.S. Open and Wimbledon twice. So in 9 years, there were 2 tournaments each year, and she won those twice. She won both of the tournaments twice. It's a very tricky word problem. I'm reading it a couple of times myself, so don't be ashamed if you need to read it 3 or 4 times. In what percent of both tournaments? Oh, what percent? You know what? I already know that in my proportion, I'm going to have X over 100 because percent's what I'm looking for. So there's half the battle right there. In what percent of both tournaments combined during those years was Serena Williams the women's champ? And then we know it's going to be a decimal, and it's telling us to round to the nearest tenth. So here, let me think. I'm looking for part. I need to know my part, and I need to know my whole to put here on the left side of my proportion. And we're talking about how much did she win. So what's her part of winning? 9 years, there were 2 tournaments. So in 9 years, 2 tournaments, it sounds to me like there's a total of 18 total tournaments. And she won both the U.S. Open and Wimbledon twice. So she won 4 different times. So of the 18, she won 4. That's going to tell us what percent of both tournaments combined she won, because I doubled it. She won both tournaments twice. Okay, so 4 out of 18 is what percent of 100? And now we just cross multiply and divide by 18. And we find out that her percentage was 22.2 repeating. So we can just say approximately 22.2%. All right, we will work some more of these in class. I hope you have a great day.